On June 14th, 2025, Zaria Khadijah Carr, I'm better known online as Duchess Dior, went live on Facebook. She was 27, an influencer with a decent following, sharing her life with fans like many do. But this live stream, it wasn't like any other. Right from the start, things felt tense. Zaria and her husband, Shamarcus Carr, were arguing. Loud, raw, and real. Viewers watched in real time as the fight escalated. Shamarcus accused her of betrayal, she fired back. The air was thick with anger and pain. Then Shamarcus said something chilling. "You're gonna make me kill you." Viewers were frozen, some tried to comment, plead, but the chaos kept growing. Zaria didn't stop the live stream. She kept filming, maybe hoping for help, maybe just caught in shock. After the stream ended, she posted a desperate message. "I need help before I lose my life or my freedom." Hours later, the police showed up. They found Zaria, lifeless. Shamarcus took off in their car. The whole town was on edge. Eventually, after a manhunt, they found him, but it was too late. Shamarcus had taken his own life, and 2 kids lost both their parents that day. People still talk about that live stream, the rawness of it, the horror of witnessing real life unravel like that. And it's a brutal reminder. Social media isn't always just fun and games. Sometimes it's where people's darkest moments play out live. But here's the question, if you were watching that stream, what would you have done? Would you try to call help? Would you comment to try to calm things down? Or would you just watch frozen like everyone else? Let me know down in the comments. It was a warm night in Las Vegas, bright lights, loud music, people everywhere. Rodney Finley, better known as Finny the Legend, was out live streaming with his wife Tanisha, who everyone called Bubbly. They were walking the strip, joking around, chatting with their subscribers. Rodney was doing what he loved, creating content, talking to his audience, keeping it real. Tanisha was right there beside him, laughing, teasing him about what drink to get next. They were a fun couple to watch until everything changed in just a few seconds. Out of nowhere, gunshots, loud, sharp. Rodney's camera shakes violently and then drops. Screams are heard, people running, then more gunfire. The live stream kept going. Viewers in the chat were confused. At first they thought it was a prank, like some kind of weird YouTube stunt, but it wasn't. Rodney and Tanisha were shot dead, live on stream. The shooter, another local YouTuber named Sin City Manny Wise. Apparently Rodney and Manny had some kind of online feud going on for months. It started with small jabs, content copyright strikes, insults in videos, accusations. But behind the scenes things got ugly. What nobody expected was that Manny would actually show up in person that night, armed, angry, and ready to end it all. Police say Manny pulled out a handgun and fired at least 7 shots. Rodney was hit in the chest, Tanisha too. Neither of them survived. Manny tried to claim it was self-defense, said Rodney threatened him before the stream, but the footage didn't show that. In fact, Rodney and Tanisha were smiling, laughing, minding their business. What happened wasn't self-defense, it was cold-blooded murder. Over online drama. Now their kids, they're left without parents. Because 2 grown men took a YouTube beef way too far. And the worst part? It all happened while thousands watched, live. Online conflict is one thing, but when people stop treating it like content and start treating it like war, it turns deadly, fast. What would you have done in their shoes? Let us know in the comments, and be careful out there. Not every live stream ends with a smile. April 27th, 2017, Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. A young man is live streaming casually, chatting with his fans before boarding a plane to Texas. His name is Paul Danino, better known online as Ice Poseidon, a Twitch streamer famous for IRL streams and his chaotic fan base. But this stream was about to take a dark turn. As Paul walks toward his gate, joking and checking chat, he has no idea that someone watching the stream has just called in a bomb threat. Not just any bomb threat, a fake one, specifically naming him as the suspect. And within minutes, it happens. Sirens, shouting, guns. Police storm the terminal. Passengers are pulled away. The flight is evacuated. And Paul, he's surrounded, handcuffed, and taken away. Live in front of thousands of viewers. Why? Because someone hiding behind a keyboard thought it'd be funny to swat a streamer on a plane. They called authorities, claiming Paul was planning an attack mid-flight, all because they could. Let that sink in. This wasn't a prank. This was a federal offense. A bomb threat at an airport is no joke, and neither is falsely identifying someone as a suspect. Ice Poseidon was detained, interrogated, and eventually released once officials realized the call was fake. But Twitch, they weren't so forgiving. His account was banned almost immediately for violating terms by disclosing his location during the stream. But the real danger wasn't the ban, it was what could have happened. One wrong move, one nervous officer, and Paul could have ended up seriously injured, or worse, just because someone in his audience wanted to watch the chaos unfold. Afterward, Ice Poseidon warned others, if someone's willing to do that on a plane, what's stopping them from doing it anywhere else? And he was right. Swatting had been around before, but this was a wake-up call for every live streamer. When your life is live, you're not just broadcasting to fans, you're opening a window to strangers, some of them disturbed, dangerous, and completely anonymous. This wasn't a case of violence or bloodshed, but it was still terrifying. A man detained under federal suspicion mid-live stream just because someone thought it was content. So now we ask, where do we draw the line between live entertainment and real-life danger? Stick around, the next story is even darker. September 2020, New Albany, Mississippi. A man sits in front of his desk, a camera pointed at his face, and he's live on Facebook. His name is Ronnie McNutt, a 33-year-old Army veteran, known by friends as loyal, funny, and a bit impulsive. But tonight, something was different. Ronnie had lost his job, he had relationship problems, he was battling PTSD, and he was drinking. At first, the stream didn't seem too out of the ordinary. He was ranting, pacing, emotional. His dog wandered in and out of frame. But slowly, viewers began to realize what was about to happen. Ronnie had a gun, and he wasn't just venting, he was spiraling. Hundreds of people were watching, some begging him in the comments to stop. Others were laughing, trolling, saying things like, "Do it already." This was real life, and it was happening in real time. One of his closest friends even tried to intervene, calling him, messaging him, pleading, but Ronnie didn't answer, and then, without warning, he sat down, looked into the camera, and pulled the trigger. The live stream didn't end. His body stayed on camera for minutes. Blood pooled on the floor. Viewers screamed in the chat. Some reported it, some recorded it, and some shared it. By the time Facebook took the video down, it had already spread like wildfire across TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Teens scrolling through their feeds were accidentally exposed to one of the most graphic live streams in internet history. Even worse, some accounts edited the footage into harmless-looking videos, tricking people into watching it. This wasn't just tragedy, it was trauma, repackaged, reshared, and fed into the algorithm. All while a real family grieved the loss of their son. Ronnie's death became a warning. Social media is fast, but it's not always humane. Platforms claimed they were doing their best to remove it, but for days, even weeks, the video was still out there, and many saw it without ever meaning to. Ronnie McNutt needed help. Instead, he got an audience, and the internet turned his final moment into a viral clip. If you or someone you know is struggling, reach out. Real help exists. But live streams, they ain't therapy, they're just a spotlight, and sometimes that light burns too hot. It happened on December 2nd, 2020, just outside of Moscow, Russia. The weather that night was brutal, bitter cold, the kind of cold that makes your skin burn after just a few seconds outside. But inside a small house, a YouTube live stream was unfolding, and what was happening on that stream would shock the entire world. The streamer's name was Stas Reflay. He had gained a small following not for anything wholesome or funny, but for pushing the limits of what people would tolerate, or worse, what they'd pay to see. On that night, his girlfriend Valentina Grigorieva was with him. She looked tired, emotionally drained. From the very beginning of the stream, you could tell something wasn't right. Her expression was blank, her movements slow, and Stas, he treated her more like a prop than a person. As the stream continued, viewers began sending money, not as donations of support, but to request acts of cruelty. One viewer paid Stas to spray Valentina in the face with pepper spray. He did it without hesitation. She cried out in pain while the chat laughed. Another told him to force her to strip. He did that too. Then someone offered money for something far worse, to throw her outside into the freezing cold, wearing only her underwear. It was -5 degrees Celsius outside. Still, Stas dragged her to the door, laughed for the camera, and tossed her outside like she was nothing more than part of the show. Then he shut the door, and kept streaming. Valentina was left alone in the freezing night, barefoot and barely dressed, while inside the house, her boyfriend joked, smoked, and read out viewer comments. She stayed out there for over an hour. Eventually, when he opened the door to check on her, she had already collapsed. Her body was cold, her lips turning blue. She wasn't moving, she wasn't breathing. But instead of calling for help immediately, Stas picked her up and showed her to the camera, saying, "Look what you've done." He blamed the viewers, blamed the donations, but never once blamed himself. Even when the paramedics arrived, he didn't stop streaming, and by then, Valentina was already gone. Dead. Aftermath. The stream was eventually taken down, but not before clips were downloaded and spread across social media. The outrage was immediate. People demanded justice. How could someone broadcast the slow death of their partner and do it for money? It turned out this wasn't the first time Stas had abused Valentina on camera. He had hit her, humiliated her, even threatened her before, and all of it had been live streamed, and people had watched, donated, some even cheered. The conversation that followed her death was complicated and uncomfortable. Some blamed the platform, others blamed the viewers, and disturbingly, some even blamed Valentina herself, asking, why didn't she just leave? But that's the thing, abuse doesn't always come with visible chains. Sometimes it looks like love, sometimes it hides behind laughter and inside jokes, and sometimes it's just too late to get out. Valentina should still be alive, but instead of a life, she became a live stream, and her final moments weren't met with help or compassion. They were met with emojis and money and silence.